Warmest of greetings, friends, and welcome to Dicefunction Discussion, the official Dicefunctional podcast, where a bunch of friends sit around to discuss their D&D game, answer some questions, have some fun talking about it, share our thoughts about all the great things that are happening and some of the terrible things that are happening. Got some awesome friends with me today, but real quick before we begin, a little bit of housekeeping, starting with this episode that is coming directly to your ears right now. There will be a new episode of the podcast every other week here on YouTube at 8 o'clock Eastern. It's 8 a.m. Eastern. That's right. Before our live Saturday sessions, you guys can check out a podcast every other week, get a little bit of insight into what we're doing. It's really, really cool. It's really fun. I'm really excited for that because I'm actually caught up. And if you want some insight from the past couple that we've had, they're all there on YouTube as well. But with this, I want to give you guys, that's our listeners, a chance to have your questions answered. If you have a question for what the character is thinking or what the player is thinking, as long as it's not too spoilery, and we will always make that judgment. If you have a question like that and you want a chance to have it answered, feel free to either tweet us at Dicefunctional with an underscore or leave a comment on the previous VOD there on YouTube. And I will go through the comments and I will try and grab a couple questions if there's some good ones there, and we'll get them answered. Yeah, that's all I have as far as housekeeping. So let's get into the episode. We're going to be covering episodes 59 and 60 of Dicefunctional. With me today, I have Michele. I have Jess. And for the first time ever, we have the Bard Supreme Meme Lord Drinking Champion Gunslinger, voice of Ro. Jill is on the actual episode. What's up, you three?
Woo! Jill!
I have iced animal crackers.
It's a good day, man.
They're so good.
They're actually the best. I really wish I had some. Have you ever gotten like the gigantic bag where it's like it's like a potato chip bag size of like iced animal crackers?
I got the giant box from Sam's Club, so it's got a bunch of individual little bags, like 100 of them.
Oh, Jill.
I'm living my best life.
I'm jealous.
Like the jugs that are shaped like the animal. Have you ever seen those?
Oh,
like shaped like a bear.
I haven't seen those since like. Oh, dude, it's been too long.
I think they might have those at Target, maybe. But I could be imagining things.
I need to go shopping this week.
I need to do that.
I think that's Dicefunctional. That's the next quest of Fortune's Blade is to find these iced animal crackers. I'm here for it.
New one shot.
Dude, don't give me ideas like that because I'll actually make that happen.
Do it,
before we go into that kind of a one shot, let's give you a quick rundown on the past couple episodes. So we have been in Ro's hometown. We have been continuing with the heists. Gale and Rudy pulled off one where Gale's totally convinced that he convinced the guy that there's a ghost. We found some cool shit. Vandalized Ro's family home because her family is absolutely awful. And then had the genius idea to try and bamboozle the mayor. And that went absolutely ass up and around and through the window and just terrible. But with some absolute clutch persuasion and planning, we were able to come out of there without losing the Afridi and without being thrown in jail. So that is an absolute win as far as D&D is concerned and as far as I'm concerned. So let's start. We're going to start with Jess on this one. So, Jess.
Mm-hmm.
Mercy was a part of a kind of heist and then had to completely recover from it, but it was all successful. Walking away from that, having a little bit of a drink and going to sleep, waking up the next morning, kind of where it's been a roller coaster. So where is Mercy's head at like currently? Is it one of those of like full on like, oh yeah, like excitement, like we did it, like that adrenaline rush, or is it like, oh dear Lord, all of the gods in the pantheon, what just happened?
More of that second one without a doubt, because she's sitting here thinking, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, we fucked up. Even if she helped her cover it with Ro, we still fucked up hard and potentially lost an ally who, through doing that, we discovered wasn't actually that shitty. He's just a politician. So she's just kind of stuck on the whole mindset of, well, now what do we do now that this town has kind of become not necessarily hostile, but not friendly? I have a feeling if we overstayed our welcome past the festival, which I know is not the current plan, it would not end well for us. And Mercy's just thinking, great, fuck.
Yeah, that's totally fair. But we got to stay through the festival at this point, though.
Oh,
we spent all this time here. We got to stay through the festival, right?
I think legally Ro would kill us if we didn't, considering what she wants to do.
If Ro didn't, I would.
well, then we'll get your opinion then, Jill. So, would Ro absolutely murder everybody if we decided not to actually go to the thing? I'm kind of just getting on that, but Ro's gotten her revenge as well, so that's kind of cool. Is she kind of glad that the whole crew is kind of fucking everybody over, or especially with this last one, is it sort of that second thought of like, oh crap, like that maybe this wasn't quite as good as I thought it was going to be?
Well, the real thing here is that Ro kind of like doesn't give a shit about all the other families and stuff. Her main goal coming to Warridge was, I'm going to fuck up my parents' life. I don't know how, but it's gonna happen. But now with like the whole mayor situation and then her mom and like the what's he called? The little shop boy who's gonna be killed if Ro was dramatic. Fritz.
Yeah, that guy.
Fritz.
There's a weird sense of like, okay, maybe this isn't as satisfying as I thought it was gonna be. Maybe for once I have to think about something that isn't me, which isn't necessarily what she wants to do, but it's what she's gonna end up having to do. Growth.
Yeah, it's that moment of, oh shit, I'm growing up. I don't like this. Everything's now terrible.
Basically.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that. Oh yeah, no, it's been cool to see us going back and then all of the crazy plans and stuff like that. That's been a lot of fun. Oh, one other thing too, kind of regarding the whole the deal that's come out of this. How immediately is Ro looking to try and get out of this whole political thing, or is it sort of like, I guess I have to take one for the team and I probably gonna hate this, but I'll stick it out? It's
definitely I'm taking it for the team. I'm gonna do it. But the second there is a shift in the situation, and the second that if the mayor does something that's not exactly lining up with our plans, that shit's down the toilet. It's gone now. Goodbye. Because like in an offshoot world where one day maybe Ro decides to run for mayor, that shit's gone. there's no giving, what's the word? I don't know. No thumbs up and re-elect for anyone else except for her.
Oh yeah, no endorsements for anybody else. Just Ro.
Endorsements. That's the word.
There you go. Not totally fair. I think there would be an amazing campaign party. Bring Fortune's Blade into campaign for you. Nothing could go wrong.
Oh, for sure. There's no chance.
No chance.
At all.
No chance at all. That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, Michele, Rudy was directly in the room while all the insanity was going down. Is this one of those ones where maybe she's gonna swear off being involved in these kinds of heists for a little while, or is this one of those where it's like, all right, I'm learning from it, I'll do better next time?
I mean, she got out scot-free. They don't know it was her. No one saw her.
Very true.
They saw Morgan. Did not see her. Erudite is very much she, especially when things like this, she always preps to get out. Like, her plan is always to get out. Like, have an escape plan, have an escape if possible, And she did it. She got out. No one saw her. No one was her. I will say what everyone I don't think realizes at this point currently, because the one person that was in the room when she did it was very drunk, is they do kind of have a little bit of an ace in the pocket, wherein she did scry on the nephew. And
Oh, yeah.
that is something he explicitly asked for and something he wanted information on, and we have information that we can give him. So I wouldn't say that bridge is necessarily burned or that town is going to be hostile to us, because a lot can be forgiven for the information that she has. So we'll see. I'm not saying that anyone's gonna, because she's not going to say anything if Rose says, hey, no, I don't want anything. I don't want him to know that. But if he does, or like if she does want him to know, Rudy will gladly tell him if it'll help.
Oh, that's fair, and it's always good to have that kind of backup plan. And I think
it's a little something in the pocket in case
exactly. You always have to have that backup plan, because it's like, as well as a lot of these have been executed, and I think a lot of the plans that we've executed as a group, most of them, despite some very close calls, have actually gone really well. I like that it's now becoming that mentality of, okay, have something in the back pocket, have like a plan B, C, and D. I know that was kind of Gale's whole thing, is he came up with the worst possible idea ever, but it was one of those, okay, if we need to use this, I'm going to use it, and I'm not going to let it fall into anybody else's plans. But it's that sort of, okay, well, sure, if we're going to get desperate, I'm going to do something dumb. But yeah. So there's a lot that's been happening. Like I've said, it's not just all of the heists and everything like that. We found out a lot about what's going on with the Rosenvilles lately, and a lot since you guys have been on, and obviously Jill, a lot since you've ever been on. So I'm going to start with you, Michele. What out of would you say this whole past, getting into town, all of the sneaking, a lot of stuff that we haven't done before as a group, what would you say so far is kind of your favorite moment out of this whole trip and set of heist? It's not even right to call it heist, but all of this like cloak and dagger stuff.
Oh wow. So Ro, Dea, and Mercy in Rose's house was amazing. Like, was so funny and beautiful and perfect, and like was everything I could have expected out of that. And as far as something I'm involved in, I guess, like in terms of like everything, it was that for sure. That was like the best moment by far. In terms of things I was involved in, it's kind of a tie between her newfound love of scrying, which
that's pretty good.
She is that literally that meme. Have you ever seen that meme where it's like, blank is no longer my best friend, blank is now my new best friend?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So Rudy is scrying. Sending is no longer my best friend. Scrying is now my best friend. Oh
no.
Which is what my title is in Discord right now, or like my name. Scrying is now my best friend.
Michele, I love you.
So good.
And Gale making or trying or thinking that he got someone convinced that a ghost was haunting his house, which is probably not the case, but still pretty fucking funny.
I think we all know that that's not the case, but in Gale's head, he's totally like, yep, this totally worked.
I did it.
I don't know where that came from either, but yeah, no, those were all pretty good. Jill, what about you? What your favorite moments so far?
I mean, is it self-centered to say that the heist with Dea, Mercy, and Ro? Because that was so fun.
No, that was absolutely hilarious.
Like, nothing went the way I thought it was going to. I thought everything was going to end up shitty and bad, but no, we just knocked out a civilian, stole everything. Like, what? That's not how heists work. I mean, technically by the laws of heists, I guess, like, that is how heists work, but
yeah,
usually you get caught. Usually there's a threat. There was no threat. But yeah.
Like that one moment that you go in, you're playing GTA, and you're like, I'm pretty sure the game glitched. I haven't run into anybody in like 5 minutes, but okay, I'm just gonna keep going.
Like, I have no stars. Nobody's trying to kill me. All right.
Not even an alarm. Like, what the hell? I'm disappointed now.
It's like, you're not going to complain too much because, like, you know, hey, free stuff.
Exactly. And you're not having to make checks like an invisibility and trying to open windows and shit. So
Very true.
could have gone way worse. No, that was definitely that was a fun moment to listen to, where I'm sitting there going, holy crap, like what even is this one? I'm like laughing the whole time. Jess, what about you?
I'm also gonna agree with the other two.
So the
like,
consensus is, just for those of you listening, the consensus is fucking up Rose House is the best thing that we have done this whole time, and I happen to concur.
Can I have a special amendment to that though?
Sure.
Second to that, however, is me getting my dog.
Yeah, that's fair.
I won't apologize for thinking that is the second best thing about this town. First best was Ro painting her entire house white and us scrying on that and finding out how pissed her mom was.
Can I
Yeah,
also
that's
make an
great.
amendment? I
Yeah.
forgot I had a possum.
Oh yeah,
The possum.
the
It's also up
possum.
there. It's pretty up there.
Fortune's Blade is building a zoo.
Just wait until I get the dog book of summoning.
Oh, it's gonna be it's gonna be a mess.
Too powerful.
Listen, that whole back garden, it's going to be a zoo at some point.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
Gail's going to live in it and enjoy it. Like, it's not a bad thing. Gail will be like that weird, like, shepherd, technically, who will just be talking to all the animals and just, like, wandering around in there in his old age. And everyone's going to be like, what the fuck?
But Jace, Gail can actually talk to the animals.
I know he can, but half the time he'll be talking, won't be burning the spell. He'll just be talking at them and be like, what are they saying? I don't know. I'm just talking at them. Crazy old man Gale. If he lives that long, but you never know. Certainly hope he does. Yeah, no, I definitely concur. My favorite moment was probably, between everything that went down in Rose's family house, especially the whole lizard thing was fucking hilarious. I'm just sitting there going, like, just the imagery of this lizard chasing and charging the gate was just amazing.
And again, as Jill points out multiple times to me, the best part is this lizard runs on its back legs.
Oh yeah, like it's fucking terrifying looking, I'm sure, especially since most of the people in this town probably have never seen one of those before.
God,
So
when that
funny.
was happening, and like we kept having to mute the mic because I was like crying laughing. It was the funniest thing.
If we weren't talking at a given moment, we were muted because we were cackling.
I mean, that's when you know you got a good moment. That's
Also, Michele died.
Michele.
Oh no. Well, she'll come back. She'll come back at some point. I believe in her.
But anyways,
That's okay, because we have a couple questions. We'll get to the questions because, hey, you know what? Might as well. Now, again, just a reminder that when it comes to questions, if you guys do have questions, either tweet at us at Dicefunctional with an underscore, or feel free to go ahead and leave a comment on the most recent VOD. And I'm going to be checking those before we go into recording this, which we record every Monday.
I'm sorry.
All
Internet went
good.
bad.
All good.
Internet went bad.
It happens, man. Welcome back. Welcome back. We're just getting into questions.
Cool.
All right. So the first question, Jill, these are going to be for you. So from the Discord, Cole had a couple questions. The first one we've kind of gone over a little bit in the beginning, asking about how satisfied Ro is with the revenge that she got. Did she, and I'll ask this because there's a little bit more to it. Does she wish that she was able to do a little bit more than what she did? And is she actually happy that she never got to actually interact with her family?
Okay. Satisfied with the revenge? I mean, yeah, she never wanted to she didn't want to murder anybody. It was never that intense. It's I think she's probably happy with what got done just because it's super inconvenient for whoever has to try to get that paint out of everything all the time. And of course the stealing all the family jewelry and all the money in the safe and all that jazz, that's a pretty nice plus. And the interacting with the family thing, we still have some time in Warridge. So
Good,
far
yeah.
so far she's pretty happy that she's managed to not accidentally run into anybody or interact with them. But the drama of the reveal and maybe visiting dear old mom at some point, it's something that still stands. It could happen.
It's still an option because Rudy said it's a standing option with Rudy. You know that. Rudy has made that
Mhm.
very clear.
I mean,
Rose,
Gail has actually offered to burn down the house, so if
In
we want to
theory-
go all the way there.
in theory, Rose, about that, but then when you think about it for a little more than 15 seconds, it's well, maybe not.
Do I want them to be homeless and potentially dead? No, not really. They're just shitty people that I want to,
Yeah,
make sure
maybe
that they understand that they fucked up.
Yeah, maybe glue all their windows shut and steal their doorknobs. Something like that, not burn the house down.
Much
still have
better,
time
much
for that.
better. Use the fire to weld all the doors shut, shit like that.
Yeah.
They don't know how we got in. There's still time for that.
Stealing all the doorknobs and gluing all the windows shut? Of course.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Hey
Always
man,
fun.
do that during the festival when they're not probably not there.
Then they can't get in. They have to break the window to get in.
Exactly.
I've almost had to do that at a friend's house once. That was fucking hilarious.
Jesus Christ, Jace. You have stories.
I have way too many stories. I need to start a whole other podcast just so I can share those stories. Anyway, this isn't about my stories. One more question for Jill. And again, this is from Cole. So Ro was jokingly upset that they moved / got rid of her room. Or was she jokingly upset, I guess, is the actual question there. Yeah, was that all an act, or is there a little bit of that irritation of did you guys really just move me the fuck out, knowing that I wasn't actually kidnapped or missing or whatever?
Well, it's kind of at first it was kind of a goof for Ro, being they moved all my furniture. That's a bummer. But then when you start sitting on that and stewing on that and hey, I've only been missing for a few years, and they just immediately gave up on me and turned my room into a smoking room. There's a little bit of resentment there, a little bit of anger at the fact that they didn't they weren't reverently looking for her and trying to figure out what did we do wrong, why is she gone, where is she. It was more oh well, she's gone, oh well.
Cool. Okay, thanks for that. Hate you guys too.
You know that scene in The Emperor's New Groove right after the funeral where Yzma immediately starts repainting the palace?
Yeah.
That's Rose's
Exactly.
family.
Basically.
Pull the lever, Crunk.
Wrong lever.
Wrong lever.
But
I've
yeah.
not warmed up my voice. I can't do that one. But yeah.
Fun fact, I've never
I
seen
agree.
that movie.
What?
Oh, Michele. You're
Michele,
missing
that
out,
movie's-
dude. This is
that
such a
movie's
good
my
movie.
raps.
I've seen pieces of it, but never the whole thing.
Jill, we have to force her to watch it while we're in Orlando.
And Revenge of the Sith. Only Revenge of the Sith.
That's the one that's the weirdly I was in a Mike Jersey subs and New Hope was playing on TNT. It was really weird.
No, the best one, Revenge of the Sith. You gotta watch it.
Okay.
Quality. All right. So next questions are for Jess. So first one is let's see here. This is from Cole. For someone who admittedly believed in making sure justice was served here against corrupt politicians, Mercy seemingly made deals with some of them quite easily. Um, how does she justify making those deals?
Simple. She doesn't think the mayor's necessarily corrupt. He's just a politician. All politicians are all reasonably at least a little corrupt. You can't be a politician and not be kind of a shitty person. But, from where she's from, Lucretia, most of the politicians are shitty losers. So you learn to take the lesser evil. And in this case, the mayor is definitely the lesser evil. So she's very quick to make deals with him because you need those people on your side. So sometimes you just gotta hold your nose and go. And that's essentially what she's doing.
Oh,
If
it's
she
totally
doesn't want to play
fair.
politics. It makes her feel scummy.
Oh yeah, no, and that's totally fair. And yeah, kind of like you alluded to earlier when you were talking about potential allies. It's like it's one thing to go, oh yeah, like there's probably some sort of an angle that you have that you're probably playing here, and you're not like, oh yeah, the most forward with what it is that you're doing. But that doesn't mean that, you're making deals with demons on the side and that I ought to take your head off sort of deal. And, if you, and that's a bit of an extreme take on that, but it kind of the principle applies where it's like, if you approach it like that every time, you're not going to have anybody that you can rely on. And it's just going to be like, yep, constantly looking over my shoulder and shit. So,
And we will be seeing that come up probably in the next, I don't know, sessions where stuff like this happens because this left a sour taste in Mercy's mouth.
I believe it. I believe it. All right. So, second question for you: um, is Mercy relieved that at the very least the mayor seems to be on the level, which I kind of think we've touched on, or do all the deals and unfortunate circumstances make her view him like even more harshly? Had he not been as reputable, would Mercy have fought her way out of there? And I think the last part of that is the most important part because we kind of touched on the first two.
I think one of the things that I don't know if I play well, like showing with Mercy so far, just because it hasn't come up, but literally on her character sheet, it says Mercy would rather talk her way out of a situation, which makes her an unusual fighter. Don't get me wrong. But it's also why I did give her high charisma. She doesn't want to pick a fight. If she can find a way out of there, lying through her teeth, pretending to be on someone's side, being as schmomy as she can be by telling the absolute truth and playing to somebody's emotions, she's going to. She's a manipulative at a certain level, but not smart enough to be mean about it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because she was kind of raised in an honest way, even if they were not honest people. So she probably would not have fought her way out of there unless it was necessary, even if he wasn't reputable, because she's worked for a lot of not reputable people. Um, and honestly, all the deals and unfortunate circumstances, that's just politics, and it makes her feel scummy. She did go to drink immediately after this was over for a reason.
That's fair. No, I mean, yeah, but like you said, it's easier to talk your way out of it, and I think we have seen some of that lately. I think, which is pretty cool. It's less of the, uh, you know, one thing that I've personally noticed, I think more about Mercy lately is it's been less of the, hey, I'm just gonna, kind of just pick a fight with everyone, and more like, okay, we need to get things done. Let's have this conversation and at least give you a chance to not be awful. And then when you are, we're gonna fight, sort of deal.
She kind of did that on the Sky Island.
True. Yeah. No, that's kind of when I personally started to notice some of that. So it's cool to see that trend continue. Yeah. All right. So next questions are for Michele. So the first one for you has to do with Rudy, especially lately with everything that's been going on with the Rosenvales in and around them. Rudy seems very eager, understandably, to go and dole out either vengeance or take care of the problem, kind of depending on how you want to look at that. What would you say is the biggest driving force with that eagerness? Is it self-preservation? Is it more revenge-based? Or is it something more along the lines of, protecting her friends that are now involved in this? Or is it something like completely different than that?
So weirdly, as we all know, Rudy's a little selfish, but weirdly, self-preservation at the bottom of the list. Because she knows going into this, fighting them, she could die. Absolutely. And Rudy is very much a self-preservationist, and like as seen in like literally the last session, she very much like is a cut and run type of person. But for some, well, not even for some reason, but given the circumstances, she wants to go headfirst into this fight, and it's a mix of kind of everything else. Not necessarily. I don't know if it's revenge. I don't know if revenge is the word she'd want to use, but they're hurting people, and obviously that town is suffering. It's very obvious that it's not just people outside the town. Gail went in there. It was wrong. It was bad. There was bad things going on, and to her, it's very obvious that the thing they've made a deal with is very, very angry that it has not received the soul it was promised. Rudy knows she is that soul. But Rudy's not going to be that soul. Her parents are going to be that soul because her frame of mind has basically been, I'm going to give them the same care they gave me, which is basically, you want me dead? Well, I want you dead too. And you're going to be the one that dies, not me. She knows that she trusts the people that she's with. She knows they will fight with her. And I mean, she's also spent a lot of time around Gale specifically. And Gale is very much a run headlong into the fight. And it's sort of rubbed off on her.
Oh, no.
Like, a little bit, yeah. Especially in regards to this. Like, especially with the stuff with Black Iron. Not necessarily just Alice. I mean, that's a big part of it. In her brain, there's a lot of things going on with that in regards to that. But, like, in terms of Black Iron in general, because, like, that was a team that she was with for a while, for a few months. And she cares about them. And seeing them get, like, as hurt as they did, fucked her up. Like, I think that was kind of her turning point. That was kind of like where, no, we have to do this. And everyone is going to hate her because she's kind of their transportation mode. And if anyone wants to go somewhere else that isn't Rosenvale, she's not going to be for it. I'll say that right now. Like, she is giving everyone the time they want with the festival and all that. But, like, once that's over, we're heading to Rosenvale. Like, she's going to be very adamant about that. That's something that's like been in, like, that is something that sits in the back of her head all the time. Ever since that happened.
Yeah, that's totally fair. It's a lot to deal with, and especially if you're on Gale for too long, you get really good at apparently just deciding, you know what, I'm just going to deal with this problem. Call it a day.
There's only so long we could wait, and obviously they're like in her mind, even if they're not attacked, there's no way that those people that attack Black Iron aren't attached to whatever the Rosenvales are doing. So, like, it's gonna get worse. It's gonna go further out, and it could hit Cersei at some point. Like, whatever's happening is expanding and getting further out. So it's just gonna get worse. Like, they could sit here all day. If they sit here all day, it could get to Cersei, and they can't avoid it because, like, they're not that, I mean, they're far apart, but they're not that far apart when you think about it. And, like, Cersei is, like, within its, whatever it is, its range.
I think it's like 2 weeks.
It's a 2-week walk.
Yeah.
So it could, I don't know how fast this thing expands out. It could be over Cersei. It could start encroaching on, we don't know. Rudy doesn't know. But that's, like, where her mind is at. And she knows Danae is in Cersei. God, Danae didn't get that far. He could have gone further.
He really could have.
Like, at least Ostroth had the mind to be like, I'm going to take her to the other, like, side of the continent and very south. Danae just kind of, like, walked 2 weeks.
I'm going to go 2 blocks away. They'll never find me. You know what? Sometimes hiding in plain sight, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna assume the best. We're gonna assume the best. Trying to hide in plain sight rather than I think this is far enough.
This is
Sure.
fine.
Everything's fine. All right. So second question for you here, Michele. So this has to do with so Rudy has now been exposed to some stuff that's a little bit more of like the higher life. I know that there was a little bit of shopping that was done. We've gone to look at wineries. We've broken into some rich people's houses and found some good stuff. Is there any part of her now, after seeing some of this and seeing some of the more expensive stuff that wizards with a lot of coin and a lot of backing can do, is there any part of her that wishes that the Rosenvales weren't so shitty and she could have kind of grown up a noble? Or is this something where it's like, maybe I was right about money corrupting people? Or is it kind of something else entirely?
She absolutely does not think being a noble would have been good, like at all. Like, she does not wish for that life. She had a very good childhood. She wanted for nothing. She wasn't spoiled. I mean, she was spoiled. She wasn't like rolling in money, and she was in this little small farm town, but like everyone there seemed to genuinely care about her, even though she was pretty different. And all the examples she's seen of money spark, except for like Avril and like maybe the governor, have been totally corrupt assholes. Like totally corrupt and willing to do anything to keep that money. Like, and for themselves, not to help anybody, just to keep money for themselves. They'll make deals with hags. They'll keep a fire genie trapped. They'll make deals with fiends. Like, why would she want anything to do with any of that? Like, at the end of the day, she's a good person. She's a spoiled brat. She can be selfish, but yeah, she can be selfish,
but a good person. Yeah. No.
but she ultimately wants to help people. And these people, these like nobility, like all these nobles, like Rose parents, like willing to take money from foreign countries and like make be like essentially kind of a spy for another country to be governor again, you know? Because and like how they treated Ro, and like, I'm gonna make a deal with a hag so that all my other competitors suffer and I get all the money. Or I'm gonna make a deal with, or I'm gonna keep a thing trapped so it can give me a wish once a year, so that all my other people suffer, all the other competitors suffer and suffer really badly, because like there was that whole thing with the boats and the merchants and the boats going, you know, getting attacked. And then making deals with a fiend so I can keep power, and sacrificing a soul of and making a child so I can sacrifice their soul. Like, she wants none of that. Money, like in that way, corrupts people. Oh, she was happy growing up the way she did. She wouldn't trade it for the world.
No, that makes total sense. My only thought to that is, wow, Rudy's never going to trust rich people, and Gail's never going to trust clerics. So we're running out of options for allies real quick. It's all getting bad. But you know, it'll be. I think that's a really good way to look at it. It's interesting to see that has been. That really has been, and I hadn't even truly thought about it that much, but for the most part, that is kind of a very common through line with a lot of these powers, a lot of these places where there's a lot of money, is they're all fucking awful. So,
and they're all false. That's the thing.
Oh yeah. They're all just absolutely the worst. Oh no, we have a DM joining us.
Why?
Hello.
Greetings.
I hear a dog. Do you have a dog with you? I hear what sounds like a dog collar.
No. Oh, those are my keys, actually.
No, I wanted to be a puppy.
I know, sorry.
Jessica is on high alert.
I know. It's Mercy coming out.
Bold of you to assume my love of dogs is not what influenced Mercy.
Yeah, fair point.
That is totally fair.
But yeah,
I actually do have a question.
All right, question.
It's actually for Ro.
Oh boy.
Oh shit, here we go.
With the odd behavior of Barrett and the revelation that occurred at the end of Saturday session, if when she's told, do you think her opinion will change at all? What's she going to think of it?
And you see, I have been fear thinking about this for like a month now. There's a fear deep in my heart that I have an idea of what's happening. It's gonna take a lot to change Ro's opinion on Barrett. Like a lot. Because Ro is not easily slighted. Somebody gets on her bad side, you're pretty much there until, Ro decides, has a moment of clarity and decides, maybe not. Yeah.
Okay.
There
Just
you are.
curious.
Okay.
Question for Michele.
Okay. Oh my god.
We're going down the
What?
line.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Has Erudite's thoughts on the situation in Roosevelt changed at all?
I actually was talking about this earlier.
Oh.
Yeah. Erudite really wants to go over there and like deal with it. She's done like waiting. She's done like pushing it aside. She's very much like, I was mentioning how like she's been around Gale for like she was around Gale for a long period of time, like solo, and they hurt Black Iron. That sort of changed things for her, where she was perfectly content to let it sit. And then the situation with Black Iron happened. And it's not just Alice. I know like you think, oh, it's just Alice. No, Black Iron is a team that she was with for a while. So she does genuinely care about them. And when that happened, that kind of was like, okay, we need to deal with this. She actually has a thought for what's going to happen after the festival. It might not make the team happy because she knows how she's getting to Rosenvale. And it's going to be dangerous.
Leroy
All
Jenkins.
Basically.
And question for what's her face? That's it. Jess.
No, I think I'm what's her face now. Thanks to that.
My brain like totally blanked out. I apologize.
It's a Monday.
What was I gonna ask you?
So I've been manic all day. This is the calmest I've been.
Do you think Mercy will be doing anything with her new dog? Like bringing it into combat or training it?
It's gonna get trained, and it's probably around the same time she's gonna try to teach Kai a few new tricks, because there's a couple that she wants both of them to know how to do. And I won't be surprised if she starts doing that to things like, because she usually keeps Kai on her in dog form. It's not really like a constant like brought up thing, but I feel like since she knows it's a dog and who she is, she doesn't want to keep it in sword form that often. So she's probably going to start teaching him things like a hand command to go at attention versus like you should be attacking that instead of saying something out loud, especially because Kai does understand her. And with the new dog, it's going to be a big ass fucking dog. If she orders it to, hey, go rip that guy's throat out, it's probably going to hurt. However, unlike Kai,
it would
can
not
die.
be great.
However, it can die, unlike Kai, which is why she is much more cautious with it. And why probably a lot of its first commands will be different from Kai's, which will be, run, go, stay, things like that to make sure it doesn't follow her into bad situations. Because it's her baby.
That's your perspective on most dogs.
That is correct.
All dogs are baby. Confirmed.
Yeah.
She also loves cats, but dogs.
Yep. I don't think I have a question for Jace.
That's fair. I am here literally every week that we have this. So hey,
It's all right. I have a
if ever
question.
there's a
for
time for a
Jace.
question.
All right,
Jess has a time for
I'm gonna dip.
Okay, you didn't even like finish the sentence. I'm gonna dip.
And that is your special segment of Connor just drops randomly into the podcast and then randomly bamfs out. So hey, thank you for Connor for coming in and asking questions, and he didn't really answer any questions this time. It's okay though. We'll get him on here soon. All right. So Jess, you mentioned that you had a question for me.
Yeah, so Gil was also in that room when all that shit was going down. We all know what his plan was. You know, the fucking insane ass goddamn swallow a goddamn bottle plan.
Yep.
It's Gail.
And it's
Yep.
quintessential Gale. But what was Gale's whole thought when they walked out of that room and they realized something was wrong? Was his first thought, something fucked up with that mission? Okay, time to let the Jinn out. Or how did that thought process evolve into that is essentially what I'm asking.
So his thought process going into the whole thing was, if these guards are grabbing us and getting us to come back, something went wrong, and either we have to answer for something that was stolen or broken, or somebody got caught. So his immediate thought was, everyone's been saying that we can't trust this guy, and whether we can trust him or not, I don't like the idea of handing over something that A, we could take advantage of, and or B, again, Gale's whole thing, and he stated this at the beginning, was, you know, if we're giving this guy any sort of advantage, we're no better than the Afridi. We're no better than this hag. We're not better than any of them. So why get involved? Why be that force for, I'm going to be this, oh yeah, we're going to give you the advantage just because you're the one that came to us first. It doesn't make any sense to him at all. In fact, most of his thing is, we're here for Roe, and that's the only reason why we're here. We've already stolen a bunch of shit. We already got kind of what we need. This was more for additional options, but mostly we're here for Roe. Because we need to take care of things. So going in there, he was like, well, we need to use this to help Maddie. So now that we're going to be using this to help Maddie, if this guy asks for it, I'll be like, sure, I'll, whip it out and just, I'll make the thing happen, because I'm not going to hand this over.
Real quick, title of your sex tape. I'm gonna whip it out and hand it over.
Yeah,
I typed out hint, but then I erased it. I was like, no, I'm not gonna. That's fine.
True.
I'm glad we went to the same place, Jill.
There's no way to say that without making it an innuendo, because then immediately it was, hey, yell at it and then stuff it down your throat.
I don't think that's how that works.
Again, it only gets worse the worse that I phrase this. But no, Gale's whole plan was, okay, well, I've kind of made this promise out to the world, and I hate that this thing's stuck. And if I don't do something right now and hand this over, there's no guarantee that I have that these guys are going to let this Afridi go. So he was just going to open it and immediately yell his wish. And it's like, and I grant you your freedom, and then just shove the thing down his throat. And if he couldn't swallow it, he was just going to keep his mouth shut for 24 hours until it couldn't be captured in that bottle again.
My God. My God.
It was...
I love
It
Gale.
was very much a Gale plan.
It was
Like,
not a Jace plan at all. This was something
was
I'm
a
going,
Gale
oh, this
plan.
is going to be the worst.
And it's funny because I was talking to Cole during this, and Cole went, "Oh, this plan has to be a Jace plan." And then that plan got revealed, and I went, "Oh no, that wasn't a Jace plan."
That was a Gale.
This was Gale going, I can solve this. This is a bad idea, but you know what? I'm not going to leave this situation unsolved. So here we are.
Out of curiosity, what is Gale's intelligence?
It's 11, isn't it?
It's 11.
It's average.
It's above average, yeah.
I was about to say most of Gale's stats are one above Mercy's. They're in
Yeah.
the same range, but they're both she's the even number, he's the odd number.
Yeah. And that's the thing is it's Gale's smart enough to know.
Yeah.
He's smart enough to read the situation, but it's not one of those where he's like, okay, well, if we play this way, then he's not gonna. It's not chess. It's hopscotch. It's if I throw it with enough force, I can get it to there, and I know that I can get to the rock and come back. It's a very simple thing for him, and that's why it's immediately like he'll come up with a solution. It may not be the best solution, but it also won't be the worst solution, and he's actually thinking through everything as it happens. It's also one of those where he's like, I know this is gonna suck, but you know,
You do what you
and
gotta
now
do.
he's finally to the point where he's like, okay, other people are coming up with ideas, so I don't have to, boost me and I'm going to stab myself swimming out to the, open ocean and then grabbing boots and coming back. He's like, okay, I have a plan, but this is awful. So somebody else please come up with a plan because I don't want to do this.
Man, I sometimes still think about that plan and how Eric could have fucked it up so hard.
That was almost so bad.
It's okay.
It was almost so bad.
It's okay. Mercy and Oro fixed it.
Here's my thing: is like, thank God that all the people that were in there are the talkers of the group.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's
Is
the
that-
4 highest charismas.
Yeah.
And-
Oh, for sure. 100%. Because like, I could not have spoken my way out of it. Rudy could not. Rudy, genuinely, even though she's got above average charisma, like for some reason, I just really like shit in charisma rolls.
Our
So, like,
team
there's this-
name, the team name of all the talkers, we're the PR team.
Yeah, you are. Like it's good that you guys. But yeah, but like I'm very interested to see what will happen next session. I don't even know because like considering that like we have the whole like dream thing and that could take a while. Will we even get to the festival next session? Is my question.
No idea.
Don't you curse
No
us like
idea.
that.
I want to so bad.
I do too.
It'll be
Because I know
fun.
it's gonna take more than a session too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Real quick, do you guys want to rapid fire that last question that Cole had for all of us?
I was going to say, so last question for everyone. We know what Gale would have done. He would have just either had the bottle swallowed or just been shaking his head no, like a child holding, a cookie in their mouth and not spitting it out. So without the demanding the bottle thing and knowing Gale's going to do that, rapid fire. We'll start with Jess, then Michele, then Jill. What would your characters have done?
1, Mercy would have taken the bottle from Gale, popped invisibility, and fucking bolted out that window, breaking it as she went out. And made a bolt for it, and then freed it after it was outside of town. She also had the advantage because the second she jumps out that window, she can cast her Find Steed, which everyone in that town right now is probably terrified of whatever the fuck that lizard is. So it gives her some advantage to get the fuck out.
Fair play. Fair play. Michele.
Dimension door into an alley, disguise self, and fucking run. Get it out. Get it to out of town and like free it. Do the wish, free it. Like again, Rudy is built to escape things. It would have
There you
been
go.
so easy to just get the fuck out. Like that's who she is. She gets the fuck out, and she could have gotten out, invisible, and run, and no one would ever have known.
Well, there you go. Jill.
If shit had really hit the fan, of course, Ro wouldn't be taking the bottle because she moves 25 feet, and that's not enough.
Not really.
It's not enough. So it would have been given to somebody with longer legs, and then I think Ro would have been scrambling probably for something to do to kind of help the situation. So I think in the moment she probably would have pulled her gun, and
Oh God.
been like, "Hey, I'll
Pull
fucking
out my
move."
gun.
It would have been a hostage situation. It would have really snowballed.
Panic Mexican standoff where you're like, no, nobody's moving. You're like, oh my God.
Again, thank God the good talkers were in that fucking room. Thank God Mercy used pathos. Like, thank God for all of it.
Oh yeah.
I've
Eh.
never been so glad I prepared Silver Tongue.
That's
That
such
was
a. Did you like get
so
that when you
much.
when you like switch levels?
That's the UA. Because of the UA, I can now switch at least one of my maneuvers out every day. And about 2 days ago in the game, I realized we'd be talking a lot. So I swapped it out for Rally, which would have just given
Okay.
additional health.
Which we kind of right now we're fine.
We haven't had
that's
to fight
smart.
anything yet.
Oh
Yeah,
my god.
That's why I
It's
took the
kind of a
battle ones out.
miracle. It's kind of a miracle we haven't had to fight anything yet.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Give it the
considering
festival.
no. It's not the festival.
It'll be fun.
Fight the dragon. Fight the dragon.
No. Don't.
Fight Keanu Reeves, the dragon.
What if the
He's
dragon
evil.
did look like Keanu Reeves in human form?
I still have money on that.
I've said it before, I'll say it again. That's Rose Endgame. That's it.
Seduce the Keanu Reeves dragon.
Yeah, it's over.
You know, it would be
Yeah.
hilarious
Time to roll a new character.
if Ro rolled a 2, trying to seduce the dragon.
You know what would happen? That roll would happen, and then you would just hear the disconnected from the call on Discord, and then my Roll20 page would go away.
Permanently,
Like-
just like nope.
I mean, to be fair,
I
If
lost
Anna makes you-
D&D.
if Connor makes you roll it like last time, it's just a straight charisma check. You still have a +5.
Yeah, I should be okay. Fingers crossed.
You need a wingman so you can get advantage.
There you go.
Get it? Wingman for the dragon.
I hate you. Actually, just
And
talked to-
on that awfulness. No, I'm just kidding. That's gonna be it for this episode of the podcast. Thank you, Michele. Thank you, Jess, and thank you, Jill, for joining me. Lots of fun, and like I said, it's fun having you guys on here. And thank you for all of you for tuning in. Thank you. And if you have enjoyed this, please feel free to go ahead and rate. And if you want to catch the next episode or whatever episode that you're on live, remember Saturdays, 4 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern, twitch.tv/Dicefunctional. And we'll see you guys there. Thank you again. And I hope you guys have an amazing day.